That coronavirus, huh?
Oh, man.
It's a real asshole.
Apparently, there's no toilet paper.
Yeah. My ass is dirty. All the selfish people.
Dude, there's no toilet paper. Let's say, okay, there's no toilet paper.
Yeah.
And you got a shit.
Yeah.
How would you do it? I can tell you exactly what I would do.
Wow, you've thought about this.
Me and Devin talked about it.
Yeah, okay, you're ahead of me.
I just feel like...
We talk about shitting a lot on this.
Yeah, sorry guys. Actually, I'm not.
We're like 12-year-old boys.
You know what I would do? I don't know if I could do it. I mean, I could probably do it over the toilet. You would need one of those
if you
squatty
get a clean
potties.
break or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of those squatty potties, or you could put some books or something next to the toilet so you could like squat on the toilet.
Yeah.
Just squat. Get your butt cheeks all the way pulled apart. If that happens naturally from squatting, good on you. If not, just reach back and give it a hand.
Give it a pull. Give it a tug.
Pull. And then put some force behind it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for those of you that like, probably myself included, you're like you're either it didn't work and it wasn't a clean break. Jump in the shower.
Or you know what? Just wet a washcloth. Yeah. There's this thing called the laundry.
Yeah.
You know, you just wash it. Yeah. On hot.
Yeah, back when diapers were a thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude.
What'd you do? Cloth diapers.
I had cloth diapers. You know why? Because my grandma was a environmentalist before her time, and even though we had disposables for both of my babies that I gave birth to, she bought me a month's worth of cloth diapers with a service, which was so sweet of her, but so miserable. and it was a good thing, but in this age of disposable so much easier, I had these cloth diapers, and what happens is when they poop, you have to swish it in the toilet, and then you have to.
Is that how you do it? I didn't even know how you do it.
Yeah, you take you have the diaper on the outside that's like that they fold and pin, and then or Velcro now. Yeah. But then you lay another piece on the inside, and then when they poop on it, you go like this, like dunk it in the toilet till the poop comes off, and then you put it in a bag, and then it sits there. And our dog one time I had put the bag out because they were going to pick it up, because they switch it out for you and bring you clean ones. And I went outside, and this freaking dog had gone through all the dirty diapers and ate all the shit, all the poopy ones. Yeah, it's super fun. So yeah, you can do that.
So if this thing is like still going, let's say years, and like we get to where you might need a diaper or me.
You think it's still going to be going on?
I'll use
all cloth diapers.
Yeah, but we're going to need like a forever supply because I'm not going to dunk them. I'm just going to
You're just going to keep tossing them.
Or I'll just
keep washing them.
I'll just like
wait till it dries and flick it off.
Strategically just, leave it out so some crows could eat it.
Yeah, perfect.
That's gross.
I like that idea. Anyway, hey guys, welcome to Between the Reps with
welcome
Brooke
to
and
another
Gina.
Episode. We are talking about the coronavirus again.
Yeah.
Because that's what's the most relevant. And until it gets worse, we'll talk about stuff, but we'll definitely kind of update and see what's happening with this. And then
and this is going to come out a whole week later because we have a different episode coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be another whole week, so it's going to look completely different by the time this one comes out.
By the time you listen to this, there
might be irrelevant.
So many things. We could be healed. It could be gone.
Right. Yeah.
But the last episode we talked to you about was kind of like we weren't planning to only talk a lot about the coronavirus. But in the middle of the beginning of the episode, my brother-in-law called because I had been trying to get my family out of Spain. They were in Barcelona.
Yeah, because they just put the travel ban on.
And every time I thought I had it solved, the airlines would cancel the flights or cancel the tickets. So it was a full thing.
But they got home safe.
Yeah. So a little recap.
Are they quarantining themselves?
I'm sure
most people are doing social distancing. Yeah, hopefully,
I'm sure.
But
I'm sure they're quarantined. In a lot of companies too, when people because for instance, I'm from St. George, Utah. It's very close to Vegas. I cannot remember where I heard this, but down in Vegas, I guess there was like this big, huge, it's kind of like a construction event convention. And some companies, they sent certain people, and then the deal was when they came home, they had to work from home for 15 days.
Right. Yeah. We had somebody at our family's business that his wife was in Italy. So she was on quarantine, and now he is also on quarantine.
Yeah.
Because obviously if he's going home and then work, that's not smart. Eric, will you push this table forward? Sorry. I feel like I'm going to pull my headphones out.
You will.
I will.
I'm in quarantine. That's why I'm in my pajamas.
They're cute pajamas though.
But they got home. During the episode, we filmed that earlier in the day. I didn't for sure have them tickets and have them checked in for a flight until 5 p.m.
Oh wow.
It was 2 days to try and a couple things. Get a website or an airline or whatever that would even go through.
Right.
Take my payment.
Right. And the websites were crashing.
Sometimes
right?
I was trying to find flights, and the websites, Wednesday night last week, the websites were crashing, or something would freeze up. I'd have to start over, and within a minute, the prices were skyrocketing.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure this has happened to I'm sure this is a common issue with so many people. Do you want to mention how much it ended up being?
Oh.
You guys.
I don't know.
No, I think you should.
Really?
I mean, it's insane.
Okay. I mean, I'll tell you.
For 3 people.
Listen, okay, my brother, my sister, and my nephew are stuck over there. They had flights to come home on Monday. My sister gets a frantic phone call at 3 a.m. their Thursday morning, so it was Wednesday evening for me. And they have 250 kids, not including the parents that came with them, over in Barcelona.
For the soccer camp, yeah.
And this whole thing happens, and they need to try and get out. All of them have flights Monday. So we start frantically looking. We also, the next morning, we're reading a lot of things. Devin's helping me read a lot of things. We were basically, it wasn't just me, it was me and Devin. We were looking for flights on both of our computers and our phones, and both trying to just get a flight booked.
Right. Well, and the thing is that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I mean, technically they were saying that people could, if you were a U.S. citizen, make it in. But I mean, having something like that happen, people have to realize when you're in another country, that is extremely frightening. And when it's ever changing every single day, you don't know if it's going to all of a sudden change the next day. So it makes sense that people were trying to get home quickly.
We had read, there was lots of information saying, basically trying to correct what was said by Trump. Not correct, but expand upon.
Right. And correct.
Yeah. The flights that they had, the U.S. citizens would be able to come home. And it said if they had been, checked out. And the way it sounded when we read it was, we were trying to figure out, does that mean if they got checked out before their flight, or will they check them out when they get here?
Right.
So it was a little bit hard to figure out, and we had no time to do it. This was, you kind of just had to make a decision.
Well, because they were putting the ban on Friday, and you guys found out Wednesday.
We found out Wednesday.
And they would have to have had it booked and out by Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So trying to get it figured out. Flights were so expensive. I booked a flight. Well, one, also too, now I have to keep an eye on my bank statements for my credit card, because there were so many times I was trying to book a flight and it would go through and then they would decline it. So I have tons of pending charges.
Right.
That hopefully are they did get declined. I had talked to my bank too, and they're yeah, it should be fine. But there are 2 charges that are still pending, that one of them should be declined, but the airline still has not.
It takes a while to clear off your statement. Yeah.
So I booked them a flight. I got them a flight booked. It was crazy that I even found. I got 3 tickets on this flight. It was for $3,000. It was a home run,
right?
to get them home.
Yeah.
Find out the next morning, later in the day, that the flight had been canceled.
Right.
So then at that point, it was Friday for us.
Yeah.
And Thursday night for them. And they needed to be out Friday. Because we had talked about the fact that they should be able to come home on their Monday flight.
Right.
Right. And Wednesday night and Thursday, when we were looking for flights, we're well, it's really difficult to land a flight for you home like Thursday, because they all basically Thursday morning at 3 a.m. my sister got a phone call from a family that was there that was from Utah as well. They all everyone packed up and went to the airport, and they were just trying to like figure something out, and they couldn't even like at a certain time. I'm trying to get through an airline because we can't get the ticket to go through, or it says that it went through but it's pending. So I'm like, go stand in line at that airline. I'm on the phone just waiting for them to call me back. And they said the lines were so long.
Yeah.
It was just wasting time. So the best thing they could do is have me try and figure something out.
Right.
Basically, they got an email because we had talked about how they should be able to get home on Monday. They got an email from the soccer camp saying, we highly recommend you really try and get out within the 48 hours.
Right.
And here's what's difficult. It's like you can trust that they will be able to get home on Monday, but it's really easy like to look at how fast things escalate every day for them when their flights come Monday, for them to just get their flights canceled and it just be like, no, we can't have any flights going in and out. Like there's no way of knowing.
Right.
So I was willing to do anything to get my family home. And I booked a flight. It was let's just say I paid.
Just say it. Okay, I'll say it.
No, I'll say it.
Okay.
I don't want anyone to get weird about it.
Well, no, it's not like you have so much money.
No,
That's not what you're saying.
This is not. This
is
not
a credit card.
This is not because when I say this amount, it's gonna. A lot of people. Some people will probably be like, "Oh, that's not a big deal." Other people will be like, "Oh my God." Well, that was how I felt. But
but it's your family.
To me, I would have paid anything to get them home and make sure they were safe. And I would have paid anything to almost just like for me to feel comfortable and for them to feel comfortable knowing they were getting on a flight and it wasn't going to take them 50 hours to get home.
Right.
The flight
for three people total.
cost me $10,000.
It's ridiculous.
And
I feel like shame on the airlines.
They were upping the prices within minutes. I mean, Creed, my brother, he said, brother-in-law, he said there are a lot of families that were just having to stay and hope they could get out on Monday because they could not afford to change their flight or buy new flights. Right. And
which is terrifying.
Another problem, what was happening is you couldn't book a new flight past Friday or something like that. Right. Like
it had to be a flight that was already scheduled. So some people go to Europe on a one-way. Yeah. They don't have a round trip. Mm-hmm. They're going to try, cruise around.
My brother, when we were trying to book a flight, he called me because he said that flight was canceled, the original one I booked, which that's the thing I'm still waiting on the pending. Hopefully that gets taken off my card. Which is $3,000 for the three tickets. And I told him, I'm like, Creed, I'm just going to book this flight. And I could just hear it. First of all, my family, all of them, including myself, are pretty prideful. Mm-hmm. And no one really loves to need help. Right. And I just felt really, I love to help people. And it's like, I just felt like I really, really good about the fact that I could finally help my older sibling. Right. My sister and her family. Right. And I would have done anything, paid anything to get them home
which is exactly why if I had gotten stuck in Mexico, you'd be the first person I called.
I would have got you home so fast. Here's how I look at it. So my brother-in-law was like, he couldn't believe because he looked at the flight. Because this is what's crazy. The flight that I booked them, Gina, the original one, the one that got canceled, the ticket got canceled, it was the same flight that I got them on. So that's how much the price increased. Okay, so I paid for that ticket, and it's almost like they canceled it because they knew they were going to up the price. Right. Seriously.
She really wants it. We're just going to keep...
The flight that I booked is the flight that they took home.
Wow.
And that's what the price difference was within a matter of hours.
That is crazy.
And while I was on
and what's crazy, I don't know if you mentioned this, but you had actually called your bank, said make sure it goes through. They said it did go through. And then the airline was saying, oh no, it didn't go through. So they actually had to have canceled it, having it come through. So yeah. Come on.
I was like, and you couldn't get through to anyone. So I was trying to call my banks to be like, hey, when the first one happened, I called and said, hey, I am trying to get my family home from Spain. I just purchased a ticket. Please do not like flag it for being fraud. I really need it to go through. And they said on our end, it's going through. We're just waiting for
them to accept it
or whatever. So then what I did when I booked it again for way more money, I called the bank before and I was like, hey, here's what I'm doing. I'm about to book this flight for my family. And please, don't flag it. I need it to go through. And this is like at like 4:30 or 4:45 in the afternoon. I tell them, they say, okay, I book it. And it was for American Express. And a notification comes up. I get a text for a code. I verify it on the website and all looks pretty good. I go back, I log back in to like check the flight on the website. And it says they're confirmed. And I was like, oh my God. Me and Devin were like,
I did it.
Or we're almost there. I clicked to be able to check them in. I have all of their passport information. I check them in. My brother-in-law calls. He goes, he got an email. He got his tickets. I was like, oh my gosh.
I know. And thank goodness Devin was here.
Oh yeah.
Because if you were having to get off the phone, call her, go, it would have been even worse.
It was a nightmare. But here's how I justified my purchase too.
Yeah.
My brother was like, so grateful and also feeling
guilty,
not guilty, but like bad because of what the cost was.
Right.
And I said, Creed, this is a business expense. You're my accountant.
Exactly.
He's my accountant. And my parents, we were trying to book it too. And they, when they said there was a card error, my mom's like, do you need my credit card? And I was like, I didn't feel like I had any time to like look for anything new. Right. Like while I was trying to call my bank and rebook this with a different card, Devin was finding other flights. She's like reading other flights to me. And I was like, at this point I said, I do not want to go through Kayak, Expedia, any of these websites that give you a price, because that's what happened last time.
Right.
When I booked the flight, this exact same flight from another website, then all of a sudden it's like in this pending, they're checking it process, whereas we don't have time. It's like 10 p.m. and this flight we're getting them on is at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
It's like, I don't have time to find something new and then do this waiting process to see if it goes through.
Right.
Like I have to book something right now. And at this point I will pay whatever it takes to get them home, and it's just money and I'll make it back. And that's how I still feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of money. But I'm not hurting, and in that situation, they were hurting. Right. And they have 3 kids at home with my mom, and they have to work and pay their bills and take care of a family of 4 and pay their bills at their house. And if something bad would have happened, they got stuck there.
Yeah,
it would have been awful.
Right.
Would have been terrible.
Well, you're a good
best
sister.
money I've ever spent.
Oh, don't regret it.
No regrets.
No regrets.
For real, no regrets. And if you got stuck in Mexico, I would have done anything to get you home.
I know. I love you. Well, so then...
Or I would have gotten a flight and come with you. We're getting this. We're getting it together with a suntan in Tulum, Mexico.
Right. At least we'll have a tan. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened? Because last week we talked about
so
where you're going, and now
you're again, this is going to come out after, but so right now it's Monday, what's today?
Oh, shit.
Monday, the 16th. We were supposed to leave on the 18th and then be gone till the following Monday, the 23rd.
Which is also why we were trying to get a lot of our websites, getting a lot of our podcasts done. Because I was supposed to be leaving to San Diego and you were going to Mexico.
Right. So, as all of this was happening, it's so hard to know what's really happening, right? I mean, you see all this stuff in the news and all of that. And so we just kept saying, okay, you know what? We're just going to keep checking the CDC and the, travel.state.gov. And it kept saying that the travel was at a level 2, which is, you can still go. They're not recommending that you change your travel plans unless you are over 65 or high risk. So, my son and his fiance have been planning this for a year and a half. I mean, they've been together for 8 years, finally get engaged, been planning this beautiful wedding. It's like a $50,000 wedding. And it came down to, we still were saying, well, we'll wait and see. And again, as everything's like escalating, the people that are, becoming infected in California and all this kind of stuff. And, we thought, and, you're also debating like, well, do I want to go from a highly infected area and then take it somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, because all these people are like, oh, cheaper flights, we'll travel here, we'll travel there. Well, if you're traveling from a highly infected area, are you being socially responsible by doing that? So, we were already wrestling with that. And if this had just been a vacation, we would have just canceled right away, But since it was the wedding, we didn't know, are we going to get our money back or, their money back? And so the main thing was the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
The flowers were like,
flowers are fucking expensive.
Dude, it was like $12,000.
Yeah, they are so expensive and they last like a couple days.
Right. And so we were like, well, you know what? Maybe because they needed to know the flowers for sure on Saturday, because for them to order all the flowers to be there in time, that's when they were going to need to do it, and that would have been non-refundable. So we were like, you know what, Morgan, my future daughter-in-law, Morgan, what if we just canceled the flowers and we'll just go to a market or something, and we'll just take flowers, like, and so we wrestled with that. And then as it got, closer and closer, and it was, we just they decided, and it was a really hard decision. Bless their hearts. They were so upset. They just said, with all the people traveling, and then, like my mom's high risk, she's going, through cancer treatment, and, her grandparents were still going to try to go. And it just didn't make sense to have all these people risk it, because the way things were going was there were so many what ifs. What if we got down there and it escalated down there while we were there, and then like something happened like that happened with your family, and then we're all scrambling to get home, and we're in the midst of trying to enjoy a wedding. Like, it's just, and then it's like, oh, we're down there and we're supposed to be, have social distancing, I'm not supposed to dance with my son during the wedding. You're not supposed to hug anybody. You're not supposed to kiss anybody. What I mean? It's just, it was not making sense to do. And so we decided to cancel the wedding. Well, not cancel, we're postponing it, but the postponement, because of it, us not knowing how long this is going to take, we couldn't just do it for May. You don't want to do it in the summer when it's too hot, and then it's their storm season. So we were able to transfer everything over to February of next year, which, it seems like a very long time away. And so they just made this decision like 2 days ago. So they're really, really upset. And obviously we're all really upset, but it was the right thing to do. So not going. And there was a bit of relief to that, because we were all willing to go for them, but it was just very stressful. And I'm supposed to be, not to make it about me, but I am supposed to be moving by the end. I was going to have a week when I got back to move. And then on the same day that they were trying to figure out if they were going to do the wedding or not, I find out that my tile guy, which is the last thing that needs to be done before I can put like my toilets in so I have bathrooms when I move, he was supposed to finish that up while we were gone. Well, they think he has it and has to be quarantined. So I was like, well, shit, I've already put in my notice for my house. What if I get stuck in Mexico, or miss the connecting flight, or I don't know. There was just so much going on. And so I'm still dealing with that. Of course, I was telling you, I text my landlord, like, is there any way I can extend my rent for 1 month? Have not gotten back to me. It's been like 2 days. So I don't know what's happening with that. I mean, I still have an outhouse on the property. So, I might just be, using the outhouse and living there. I'll come over here to shower.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's a lot of people out there that have it so much worse. I just keep trying to tell myself that, but it's all been a little bit overwhelming. I mean, it's scary and overwhelming for everybody,
Yeah.
And then I have a teenager at home who just is really mad that she can't hang out with her friends, which just seems so stupid, and it's hard with social media right now. These kids, they're all under the impression that, well, one, they're like, well, I can't get it. You know, they don't understand that, you know, they can spread it to people who are high risk. You know, we were talking about this before.
Yeah.
You know, not taking it seriously enough. I mean, you see these stupid kids that are all out spring break and, you know, partying in Florida and like all this stuff. And, you know, California, just in LA, I think they just closed all their, you know, bars and restaurants and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is like, they're having to do that because these idiots are all flocking to bars because they don't have school. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's frustrating and it's hard to explain. And I get that they're kids, you know, it's a normal behavior to be kind of like the me.
The only problem like, or the hope that they, you know, pull their head out of their ass is the fact that, like, from what I understand, this isn't, obviously we don't know.
Right.
But if we as a people
right
don't do what they're asking of us, it will be mandated.
Right. Right.
Like, that's what will happen. I follow Kristen Bell on Instagram, and she posted this thing that it's like, it's so true. And like how it's, if you're really young, maybe some of these kids, and they don't really care, which is sad.
I don't know if they, I think they think it's a
no, let me read it though.
Okay.
Because it's about this.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason, it would just, different people would feel affected by this more than others. And it just says, it's like a little post on her Instagram, so I'm holding my finger on it. It says, our elders were called to war to save lives. We are being called to sit on the couch to save theirs. Right. We can do this.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very true.
Yes.
You know, like my parents are in their 60s. My mom is 60, turning 61.
She just turned 60, I think.
Yeah, 60. She turned 61 in July. My dad is 63. Anyways, my dad, like, health-wise, my respiratory, if I get sick, it always goes for my lungs. Mm-hmm. Like, I might get a cold and immediately it's down in my chest, and I can't, you know, I'm wheezy, and I've had asthma when I was growing up, and I actually have an inhaler that I haven't had to use that they, last time when I was sick on the couch for 5 days, they prescribed for me, and now I'm just keeping it, like, in case I need it. Right. Like, my dad he's like prone to pneumonia. Mm-hmm. So he's had pneumonia a few times since he was young. And he's in his 60s. So we were supposed to be going to San Diego for the West Coast Classic. And before, like, it was postponed and things like that, I called my parents and I was like, hey, how do you feel about driving?
Right.
And my mom was like, well, I don't know. And I was like, well, Mom, I just think that, like, for one, they're in Southern Utah. They fly out of Las Vegas. I said, I just think that it's better to be safe than be sorry. Like, I almost feel crazy for even, like, saying that I think you and Dad shouldn't go to airports and do these things. Because on one hand, it's like, I think, like, chances of it, like, happening to you, I mean, probably low, you know? But, like, the chance that you do get infected, like, too early on in this whole thing, like, I just don't think that it's worth it, knowing that the issues that can make it worse are, one, age, but that's because you have a low immune system, 2, respiratory. And that one being, it can be any age that has a problem with it, has a hard time fighting it off. It doesn't have to be an elderly person or someone who's a little bit older. And so we had discussed, like, driving instead of flying. And then, like, I just had a phone call with my mom yesterday because I was reading the article that I sent you, and it's basically, well, maybe I'll read a few things from it in a minute, but it's like minutes from a meeting from
so the one from the UCSF?
Yeah, UCSF, Stanford, Berkeley. And there's just something in there that they talk about, you know, if you, like, in the fall, it's probably a good time to get your flu shot and a pneumonia shot. Let me see if I can find it and read it.
You have a shot for pneumonia?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I'm going to read it to ya. Let's see. Okay. It says, these are just, like, things we can do, right? And it says, stockpile your critical prescription medications. Many pharma supply chains run through China. Pharma companies usually hold 2 to 3 months of raw materials. so may run out given the disruption in China's manufacturing. Pneumonia shot might be helpful, not preventative of COVID-19, but reduces your chance of being weakened, which makes COVID-19 more dangerous. Get a flu shot next fall, not preventative of COVID-19, but reduces your chances of being weakened, which makes COVID-19 more dangerous. So it's like, that's like what it's talking about. Anyone over 60 stay at home unless it's critical. CDC toyed with the idea of saying anyone over 60 not travel on commercial airlines. It's not that those things are that they're preventative. It's just a precaution you can take to make sure your body against any of those symptoms, can sort of handle it versus not having that. And then if you are older or like are sensitive to those, things like the flu or pneumonia, that can put you in a more critical state. And then trying to fight off something that we're not really sure what it is or how it works,
right,
just makes it more dangerous. So I called my mom, and my dad has a doctor's appointment on tomorrow, and just like a checkup, and he recently had to get an MRI and a biopsy of some stuff. And so I was like, hey mom, when you go to the doctor on Tuesday, please tell Dr. Thompson that dad needs a pneumonia and a flu shot, and make sure you're up to date on both those things. And my mom was like, she starts talking, and I was like, this is not up for discussion.
Right.
I was like,
this is not a request.
She's like, okay, well, when we're there, I'll bring it up. I was like, no,
you will. You will get it.
If you do not get these things, I will be so mad at you.
I will drive there.
And she was like, okay, like I'll talk to him about it. And it's just like, again, because her first response was what other people would say too, is like, well, that's not going to prevent it. And it's like, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it's like,
and I didn't think about it that way, right, until I was reading this. And it's another
sense.
form of defense for your immune system.
It makes sense. I mean, Ruby was sick last week, and I kept her home all week. Obviously, with all this stuff going on, I didn't want her like coughing and making everybody think she had it, and freaking people out. And then on top of it, I kept telling her, at this point we were still traveling, I said, your immune system is already low. So if it is low and you're going out and you're doing all this stuff, you're just making yourself more susceptible to getting something. I mean, it makes sense. So, anyway, I'm sure everyone listening is like, they all have very similar stories. I would like to say that I did just get a text from my landlord.
Oh, what did he say?
Gina, we have not made any plans, so please stay there for April. Be safe. Thank God. Ugh.
Yeah, that's
one
good.
less thing I have to be stressed about right now. Thank you. Thank you, landlord.
Yeah.
And then there's, we have a friend, Carly, who works at the Salinas Hospital. She's a nurse, and she had sent us a picture of their hospital right now, and it looks like a tent city outside. Yeah. So this is the other thing, is that people aren't realizing, and I'm sure, by the time this comes out again, people are going to have finally, maybe this is sunk in. But the problem is that if we have all these people getting sick, and because the rate, it's infecting so many people so much more rapidly, there are people that maybe could have been fine with treatment that won't get it, because our hospitals are going to be completely overrun with people with this. And we already have sick people that have other sicknesses. And then I think, well, if those people are already ill, like people who are going through, different illnesses or surgeries or anything else, is this going to be rampant through hospitals? You know what I mean? And our healthcare workers and everything else. So, it reminds me of, you always see, like, say like a natural disaster.
Yeah.
And they know it's coming. And they're like, hey, you guys, we got this hurricane coming through, there's going to be casualties. And you're like that person that's like, I'm just going to stay at home and ride it out. And then you have all these healthcare workers, having to, emergency people having to go in and risk their lives to save the idiots that decide, I'm just going to stay. That's what I feel like. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that everything's going to be fine. And, then you're risking other people's lives. And you just, I think we all have to really sit and think about, I know the social distancing has become this this new buzzword, but I think we really have to think about other people. This isn't about us. It's about other people. Yeah. It's about other people. People out there.
Yeah. So what I was reading from, it's the UCSF. It's notes from UCSF expert panel. It was on March 10th. University of California, San Francisco BioHub panel on COVID-19, and it has like all the different people that were on the panel. You have Joe DeRisi, if I said that right, UCSF's top infectious disease researcher, co-president of Chan Zuckerberg BioHub, co-inventor of the chip used in SARS epidemic. Emily Crawford, COVID task force director focused on diagnostics. Christina Tato, rapid response director, immunologist. Patrick Iuscu, I don't know how to say that, leading outbreak response and surveillance, epidemiologist. Chaz Langlier, UCSF infectious disease doc. So all these people, and the first thing it says, so it's just notes, and it says, these are the top takeaways from this panel. And the first one says, at this point, we are past containment. Containment is basically futile. Our containment efforts won't reduce the number who get infected in the U.S. Now we're just trying to slow the spread to help healthcare providers deal with the demand peak. In other words, the goal of containment is to flatten the curve, to lower the peak of the surge of demand that will hit healthcare providers, and to buy time in hopes a drug can be developed. There's like questions like how many in the community already have the virus? No one knows. We are moving from containment to care. It's just inevitable, and this was what I thought was pretty interesting. This one says, we use their numbers to work out a guesstimate of deaths, indicating about 1.5 million Americans may die. The panelists did not disagree with our estimate. This compares to seasonal flu average of 50,000 Americans per year. Assume 50% of U.S. population, that's 160 million people infected, with 1% mortality rate, that's 1.6 million Americans, die over the next 12 to 18 months. The fatality rate is in the range of 10 times the flu. And this is assuming that no drug is found effective and made available.
That's crazy.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes, it's like, there is, I get it. There's so much there's so much fake information. There's so much misinformation. But what I think that everyone should be doing, instead of every time you hear something,
dismissing it,
totally dismissing it, or just only thinking like being someone who like you only really believe like what you believe. The best thing that you can do is with all the like what is happening though, and with what the great lengths that the government and different countries are going to have to try and contain and handle this, that's information enough that the fact that all we have to do to help is just listen to the fact that you need to treat yourself whether you're sick or you're not like you are sick, and spend less time around people and don't go to events. If I have the flu, I'm not going to go to the airport.
Right.
I'm not going to go to my local gym. I'm not going to go grocery shopping with a bunch of people. You're not going to do that because you're not going to go around little kids because you don't want to get the kids sick. You're not going to go around grandma and grandpa because that could kill them.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, but I have the flu. What they're saying is, even if you don't, and like for like teens, some of you little kids that are listening, even if you don't get sick, or even if you're thinking that it can't affect you in a really negative way, right?
It can affect
so many people next to you. You could come in contact with a friend that also isn't sick, but maybe you're carrying it and you don't know. And maybe it won't even show symptoms in you. But if it is in fact something that you can carry and you are carrying and passing on, it won't take long before it reaches someone who won't have a lot of luck, you know? And it's like, you just have, it's better to be safe than be sorry. It'll have consequences
for, yeah.
And the worst, it's not, it's like, just don't be so hard-headed and prideful and think like,
and self-centered
and think that it's not a big deal. Like, the best thing you can do is just consider it that it is a big deal. And if it's not a big deal for you, then try and think about everybody else that it's a big deal for.
Right.
And do your part. And just like Kristen Bell's thing said, all they're asking you to do is stay at home and watch Netflix.
Right.
I mean, look at me. I'm in pajamas.
I know.
I've been on this couch for 2 days. I'm not sick. Just thinking about everyone else.
Oh my God, so
it's
true.
I
know. I wish you could hear Ruby.
You
guys are being so lame.
I can
her
hear
dad
Ruby.
And I, like, she's at her dad's house for 2 days, and he has a surgery coming up. He was going to have surgery on his shoulder when he came back from Mexico, and so it's like he has to stay while his girlfriend that he lives with is a nurse and helps deliver babies. She can't get sick, he can't get sick, and all she's doing is going, "You're so lame. It's so unfair. I can't hang out with more." Like, he's even like let one friend come over, and it's like, I can't have one more friend come over. And I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Seriously. I was telling our friend Daniel, I was like, it's like I'm looking at my child going, who are you? What are you? Like, it's so, like, I birthed you, like, I raised you, like, what is going through your head right now? Can you just not think about yourself right now?
We just go to great lengths and tell her that you're sick.
Oh my God.
Just create a whole story.
No. Oh,
would be good though.
And it's like, I'm not trying to shame her, but it's like, wake the hell up. Like, it's, she's, my friends get to go to other friends' houses, and my friends get to go, and you guys are just being crazy. And I'm like, okay, well, they're not being responsible. I'm not going to like lower my standards because they have low standards.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's crazy. It's nuts.
It is crazy. I was just, before you got here, I was, I think I'm going to try and order Concept 2 bike erg.
Oh,
And try and just have, because like here at my house, I have some weights outside in a bar and dumbbells and kettlebells. It's been raining, and so I can't really work out outside. But I'm like, if I get like a couple, maybe a rower or something, I can definitely keep some fitness up.
Well, and at our gym, CrossFit West, Daniel's been doing videos every day for home workouts that are all just like body weight workouts. So if you want to follow them at CrossFit West, it's just at CrossFit West, right?
I think so. You want me to check it?
No, it is at CrossFit West.
Oh yeah. Oh, man, on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they're free workouts.
So just go on there, and he's posting one a day, which is really cool.
I'll share a thought with you that I had while I was driving the other day.
Oh, please do.
So so I'm just warning you guys. You guys already know. I'm about to try and say what I thought.
I know. I was going to say, is it going to translate? I'm like watching the wheels turn.
Yeah, I was driving, but you need to go potty?
Yeah.
Erica let her out.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Sorry, we don't have any toilet paper.
I need to go. I need to go. I was like, I need to go toilet paper.
Maggie, clean cut. We don't have any toilet paper.
Daniel was saying he thought it was really a funny idea to do a video right now. I told him it was a bad idea, but he was like, how funny would it be if I just like, took a video of me like going and like, buying different like toilet paper at different stores, or like taking them from like different businesses, and then I just went out and toilet papered somebody's house. I go, that's probably a bad idea. Kind of a severe situation. I get where your humor's coming from, but I don't think it's a good idea.
Devin was here. She stayed in the hotel, and I was like, hey, make sure if you see the carts in the hallway.
I know. Well, we actually, closed
out of her room. She showed me a picture. She sent it to her dad. Sent a picture to her dad.
We got one roll
of the one roll in her bag.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's we closed our gym down to do a deep cleaning and all of that, and just trying to figure out as a business owner, like, where do we go from here? How do we still try to? I mean, we're a small business. How do we stay open? We've had really great response from members still supporting us, not putting their gym memberships on hold.
I don't think they're going to want to do that. They're going to want you to be there.
Yeah. Well, so our thing was like, well, for now, what do we do? I mean, kids are out of school. So we are saying no kids at the gym, which I know makes it hard for parents that want to get their workout in. But, it's the smart thing to do. I mean, kids are having young kids have a harder time, with social distancing, not licking, windows and each other and everything else. So, trying to see what the next month is going to look like, if we have any, we have one coach that's, has a cold right now. It's probably not the coronavirus, but, and we're asking her to stay home. And then we have had a case of coronavirus in the gym. So, we're just trying to figure out what the future looks like with the gym. So I think it is smart to do like some home workouts right now.
Yeah, home workouts. And what you could do too, like if you had to really close down, because like what I was reading on there too is they kind of talked about like more sort of quarantine. It's like they're saying that they would, because like school's closing. Or maybe I read this, I was looking at the Apple News stuff. Something about like schools closing and things like that. They're not going to close elementary schools.
Well, no, they have
some, but they're saying like some of like the younger kids with schooling. And they've already shown that like young kids aren't necessarily at risk with this, but what could become a problem is if they chose to close those.
Yeah.
Then like medical workers, it turns into like if you have to now find it, kind of ruins a lot of things for a lot of people because you don't have time and you can't have strangers come and babysit.
Right.
You can't have like random people. You can't go drop them off somewhere.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm so happy I just have a dog.
I know. Seriously. Well, now we know that animals can't get it or spread it or whatever.
But what I was going to say was, I was thinking about it.
I keep dripping all over your nice couch. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right. Sorry. What were you saying? Animals.
You guys could consider like for people for them to keep their membership, like rent gym equipment and take it home.
Yeah.
Because you could do it in a way that like they sort of almost like a library card. Like they come in, like take some stuff and they take it for a few days and then they return it. And how they return it is they just drop it off in the parking area. And then what we would do or what you do is you would just disinfect it. Right. And you just keep the equipment disinfected. Right. And then new people can come and pick it up. Yeah. And it could be all done through like an email or something where you're like, like Daniel knows how much of everything you have and what people want to check out. Right. And it's under your name.
That's smart. Yeah.
It would be a really great way for people to keep the gym open because people will now, their gym membership, no, they can't be in the gym, but he's still offering workouts every day. And one step thing is you can come in, you would basically go on to, maybe he could keep something. I don't know how you could do it so they could see how many of things you have, but you could send an email and it's like, here's how much we have. People are checking out these things. You can keep a tally on an Excel sheet of who has what and the date they checked it out and the day they're bringing it back.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then just disinfect it. Cause then all you have to worry about is they could drop off the stuff and then only a couple people that are normally there to like you and Daniel or us. Right. You would disinfect it. Just, wear gloves and put on a mask and spray it with Lysol or bleach, bleach towels and clean it. And then, cause you can shut that fence or leave it barely open and just have that be an area each day of like, from this time to this time, we have equipment you can come and rent. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good idea. If, we get to a point where he's run out of body weight movements to do.
Well, I definitely think he'll keep doing like the at-home workouts. And yes, people will see the same workouts and same movements, but that's
at least you're moving.
You're moving. But just another if it got worse or whatever, an incentive for people to stay involved and paying their membership would be.
I mean, so far everyone's been home with you. Yeah, we've been really lucky. Everyone's been pretty supportive. There haven't been many people saying like, can I put my membership on hold and I would understand if people need to too. Yeah. I mean, now with the whole talks of recession and everything else, everyone's got to kind of, cut corners somewhere, but so far so good. We'll see. I mean, by the time this comes out again, who knows? Yeah. We don't know.
What I was going to say in my thought.
Oh yeah.
There's just, you're now seeing a lot of, like either a lot of people or a lot of companies that are like, pay this much and get it's either they're creating a plan for this COVID-19 for affiliates. So you can pay this much money to get their plan of how to do it. And, and I think that's all really great. You're seeing tons and tons of like at home workouts. So great. And I was thinking about it. It's like, well, those things should be given away for free. if you don't already have something that people have purchased to use it.
Right.
Because then I was like, well, I have naked training.
Mm-hmm.
And we're already working on, for our current members, stuff they can do for home. And they've been building it.
Right.
And I was thinking, would we run, like would it be worth, like, just giving something away for free? And I was like, well, no, because yes, people would need it, but the amount of people that already have bought it or purchased it, you know, you'd have to try and, like, want people to understand that, like, you're just trying to help people and give it away for free. And so what I was thinking is, like, for myself, I was like, no, there's no point in, like, us taking, you know, whatever home thing we're working on and just give it away for free. What we need to do is care about the people, like how we're worrying about, like, the gym and the clients,
right?
Not worrying about future people and future business.
Exactly.
And trying to make $1 on this pandemic,
right?
And really just trying to give everyone that we are, like, you're already
take care of the
with,
people that are,
take care of your community and give them what you can for free,
right?
You know, what they already pay, make it valuable, which would be like what someone already pays for a gym membership. Let's just make it as valuable as possible, so everyone, you know, everyone can keep making money and paying bills.
Right.
And also, if that was something that ends up happening, I do have some extra equipment that I could loan
perfect.
to the gym for renting.
Perfect.
So,
yeah.
It's crazy, guys.
I know. It's crazy out there.
And I'm almost finished with the whole season of Vampire Diaries. What am I going to do?
Watch Love is Blind.
I started watching it and I was
so
like,
bad.
I don't know if I can get into it.
It's so bad.
I don't like bad TV.
I know, I do.
Devin loves it too.
I love shitty TV.
Man.
It's embarrassing. You know, I used to always say that I think I've said it before, I love watching The Real Housewives because it makes me feel like a better person.
Yes, you said that.
Because I see the way these women, like, are with each other, and I'm like, oh my God, my friends and I would never behave like that. Like, that's terrible. It's awful. So yeah, it makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah, I've been watching
their misery. It's not even their misery. It's just the way they behaved at each other.
Yesterday,
2
nights ago, I started basically season 8, the final season of Vampire Diaries. I'm so addicted. I love vampire shit.
I do too.
And I think in the morning, I wake up usually every morning and I have coffee and I watch an episode. That's what I do. Or 2 or 3, depends on what I have going on that day. Well, yesterday I didn't have a whole lot going on. You know, I got some stuff done. I had to film a try-on video for the new items from Ence that Gina's actually
I know. I love it. I love these leggings, you guys.
So I did a try-on video. Also, never have filmed one of those before. It took me a while to figure it out. I was like, how can I do this? And do these quick transitions. And I don't know how to use TikTok. I wish my niece was here. She could teach me.
Right.
She's 8. And so I got that done. And I ran to Ace. I needed to grab a couple things, went into town, walked through World Market for a second, and then came home. Got home at 2:45, 3 o'clock. And I started episode 3 of season 8.
You went all the way through?
Not all the way through, but I watched season 3 all the way up to season 13. Or not season, sorry. Episode 3 to episode 13.
Oh, wow. That's nice. Dude, I've done that before. I mean, no judgment here.
And I'm just what else would I do?
What else are you going to do?
I'm invested in this show.
I'm going to see it through.
It's raining. Can't go see my friends.
Yeah.
Can't go get a pedicure. And I need one so bad.
You've needed one for a while.
I know. I've worn flip-flops out and about. And I'm like, oh, don't look at my toes. Or do.
You know what you might have to do? You might have to just do them yourself.
I mean, I would. I just got to go buy some nail polish.
Oh, okay.
They're so bad.
Well,
you guys, thanks for
listening to our rant
here. You know?
Yeah.
I hope that through this whole thing, we can be a form of entertainment for you. Which I'm pretty sure you're only listening because in some way.
Definitely not a form of information. No. This is not where you should be getting your COVID-19 information.
No,
just so you guys know.
However, if we were to give you information like I read from that
hopefully
those minutes today, that's what it will be from. All in all, little
be
R&R.
safe.
Yeah,
stay away from each
R&R.
other.
Take this well-deserved rest time from people.
Yeah.
From outside.
You can go outside.
No, just kidding. Just from people. And yeah. Stay healthy. Drink water. Wash your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you think that it's not a big deal, just be extra safe and cautious, and because we care about other people.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well,
thanks for listening.
Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, 5-star rating, 5-star warning, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.